Hi, this is Eric Smith. In the past, as a Christian, I've seen situations where Christians have made commentaries about hurricanes, snowstorms, um, weather phenomenon, and things like that, where they're basically saying that those things are of God and sometimes it's a judgment on people. And many times, unbelievers and even Christians will get upset about that and say that God had nothing to do with it. Unfortunately, even though as Christians we don't know specifically what God is doing all the time with the weather, the Bible actually tells us that God is in sovereign control. And I want to read some verses that will actually validate that point. This is Job chapter 37, verses 11 through 13, and the Word of God reads this way. Also by watering he wearieth the thick cloud, he scattereth his bright cloud, and it is turned round about by his counsels, that they may do whatsoever he commandeth them upon the face of the world and the earth. He causeth it to come, whether for correction, or for his land, or for mercy. In Job chapter 37, God is shown to be sovereign over the weather. In this whole chapter, we have snow, wind, rain, clouds that are described as God moving them and controlling them. These middle verses of the chapter that I just read is really the crux of his control and his reasons for it. And what we're going to see in these three verses are what I would say the what, the how, and the why. So I want to go back to verse 11. It says, also by watering he wearieth the thick cloud, he scattereth his bright cloud. So this verse speaks about the process of rain and how he uses the clouds to do it. The thick clouds, those dark clouds, brings water. Anytime you look up in the sky and you see dark clouds, you know it's going to rain. And he scatters the bright clouds. You ever see white fluffy clouds and the wind is moving it this way or that way? That is God that's doing it. So what is happening and what is bringing the rain from these clouds? It's God. So then in verse 12 it says this, and it is turned round about by his counsels. So it's saying the clouds and everything that happens in the clouds, all the weather, is turned by God's counsels, that they may do whatsoever he commanded them upon the face of the world and the earth. So now we get the how. How does the clouds move? What's happening there? It's God that's doing it. He's moving it according to his counsel. And you notice it says he's commanding them, the clouds and all the weather, to do whatever he wants upon the face of the world and the earth. So God is doing weather for his purposes all over the world. You may have different weather, whether you're in the United States of America, whether you're in the South Pacific, whether you're in Australia, wherever you are at this time, God is doing something in the weather. So then in verse 13, we have the why. Why God is doing it. Why God controls the weather the way he does. It says, he causeth it to come whether for correction, or for his land, or for mercy. Did you catch the three things? For correction. Sometimes destructive weather is to correct human beings on the face of the earth. You may have snowstorms or hurricanes or thunderstorms or blizzards. It could be for correction. It says it's also for his land. Any land actually belongs to God. And the weather is part of the process for the plants, the grass, the trees, everything to grow. It's part of the cycle. You can't have grass and bushes and trees and even the beautiful flowers we see, the beautiful plant life, without rain coming down from the sky and watering the ground. And then it says, it is also for mercy. Sometimes the weather can show the mercy of God. For instance, if there's a drought and God brings rain, that is him being merciful. So as we can see in these verses, God does have sovereign control over the weather. Dear Christian, when you see the weather and it's bad and sometimes we get upset about it, And sometimes bad things from our perspective may be happening to people, and we just want to separate God from the weather. Biblically speaking, we can't do that. God is doing it for his purposes, and he explains why. It could be for correction, for mercy, or for his land. But we don't want to get upset about that. We don't want to try to belittle God's power by saying he has nothing to do with the weather. He has everything to do with it. We just have to let them know that God has a purpose and a plan for it. And even though we don't understand it, we don't want to think that the weather is separate from him, like it's Mother Nature or anything like that. It's all of God. So this is Job chapter 37, verses 11 through 13. I just wanted to do a quick look just to explain to Christians that might get upset about that even though there's bad weather, we don't want to think that God doesn't have anything to do with it. He has a rhyme and a reason and a purpose for it, and it actually shows his power and his glory. As always, if the videos on this channel have encouraged your Christian walk, but you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you want to, hit the button. If you want to leave any comments, please do so. But I would ask, as Christians, please do not be snarky. Please do not be profane. We want to be Christ-like in everything we say and do. And until we do another quick look, when you look outside and you see a thunderstorm, or you see tons of snow coming down, or you even see a beautiful sunny day, thank God for the weather, because he has a rhyme, a reason, and a purpose for everything he's doing. Don't separate the beauty of weather from God's power and God's purposes. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and God bless.